Hello, hello. Oh, I'm so glad to see that some of you are on the call because in my preview of seeing the call, there were 0 people. Welcome. It is 4 o'clock. I'm a couple seconds late. My husband decided to start up his very old Chevrolet, and the garage is right under my studio. So I was like shaking, and I didn't want you guys to have to hear that. But hello. I'm sure you're all in a commercial. And I say that every time. And then I think when you finally hear me, then you're not in a commercial anymore, because I sometimes will rewatch the lives and different things. And I'm like, yeah, that's silly. I shouldn't say that. It's okay. But welcome to the month four Flower Shop Block of the Month kickoff. Oh my goodness. Hello. Yes, you can hear me. Perfect. I normally ask that and I didn't. You guys, you're in a different setup today. We're over here. Normally you're over here, like the computer is on my very long little cabinetry, and you see this behind me. I decided to do it this way because we had our month 3 Zoom meetup call, and I kind of had it on my cutting table over here on my computer, because I use my computer right now. One day I will get high tech and use my cameras, but I'm not high tech. I'm low tech. So I don't know how to really I just need an HDMI cord, and that just sounds so troublesome right now to not have to move my computer. So I used to unplug my computer, put it over here, plug it in, turn it on, and get going. And I was like, for the live Zoom, I just lifted my computer up and turned it around, and that worked out for me so much better, because it actually is a little bit of a hassle to move my computer. So I hope you enjoy seeing this different side of my studio. These are the normal shelves you see here. This is where I sew in front of my window. So at any time, if I'm showing anything today, I can close the window more if it's creating a glare or a shadow. I don't know if it'd be a shadow, but a glare, or you can't see something correctly. When you stand in front of a window, sometimes you can't see what is going on. So yeah, this is my studio. Here's my little bookshelf. Let's give a little quick tour, right? Here is my little bookshelf filled with other patterns, other books. This is where I sew. Normally I have my ironing board here, but I moved that out of the way just to give me more space to hold up the quilt and stuff. So yeah, normally this iron is right here. Haven't I any? Okay. All right, enough of being silly. You guys, it is Friday, and happy Valentine's Day. That's why I'm wearing this shirt right here, because it has a heart on it, right? And it's comfy, and it's oversized, and I love it. But happy Valentine's Day. I'm so happy you are spending, I know it's a little early, but a little bit of your Valentine's Day with me. It's 4 p.m., so I don't know, unless you're, maybe in another country. Maybe if you celebrate Valentine's Day, maybe you're already at your Valentine's Day treat or dinner. But we don't really do much here. I kind of just leave it up to my husband. We usually forget. I honestly kind of forgot it was Valentine's Day. My husband and I didn't say Happy Valentine's Day to each other at all today till about noon. He called me. He's like, hey, it's Valentine's Day. I'm like, hey, oh yeah. And then my son's in the back seat, and he goes, oh yeah, Mom, are you going to get me anything for Valentine's Day? And I'm like, do you really need something for Valentine's Day? And he was like, yes, I want some chocolate. And so I was like, fine. Because I was taking him and his friend, he had a sleepover last night. And because he didn't have school today, which was so odd. They didn't have school today. I'm going to have to look up why. But I took them to Chick-fil-A for a little breakfast treat. And then that's when that all went down. So then I went to the grocery store and let him pick out a heart candy, a box of chocolates. And I was bad, and I ate 3 already. I'm trying to do really good, and I've been working out and eating a lot better. So anyways, sorry for my ranting. Welcome to month 4 of the Flower Shop Block of the Month. I cannot believe we are already on month 4. I know I say that every time, but I just feel like this block of the month is flying by. I don't know. Do you guys feel like it's kind of just flying by? I felt like with Flower Stand, it did go quickly, but I felt like it wasn't as quick as Flower Shop. And I don't know if that's just because I've got a lot going on right now and a lot of things about to release. And so like in my mind, it's just going a lot faster. But I feel like every time I turn around, I'm like, oh no, things are due. I have to like get the free stuff done. I have to upload everything to the main hub. This time there's a bonus pattern, had to get that all together, had to make that. And then, just getting everything ready, the emails, the tutorials, because I filmed those like in real time, kind of like a couple days before we go live, just in case like there is something I need to talk about that maybe you guys saw or an error or something. And I keep telling myself that I will film all the tutorials like months in advance. So it's not stressful, but it's not as like hectic the week of, but I can never get myself to get ahead enough to do that. So, some people, okay, don't feel like it's flying by. Okay, good, because I don't want it to feel like it's just here and gone. And then, Tori, you bought your kit a couple of weeks ago and it hasn't gone fast for you. Okay, good. And you're loving it all. Okay, great. Tori, I don't know if you like joined the live meetup or if you've seen all the other lives and everything, but if you have any questions, feel free to email me since you are new. I hope you got your welcome packet. In your packet of patterns, there should have been like a welcome insert with a QR code to scan for the main hub to access all those things. So let me know if you don't see that. So welcome everybody. This is exciting. We've got 17 people on and you guys are active in the chat. That makes me so happy. And I kind of like this new little setup because I have like, you can't see it, but this is like my table right here. And I'm able to like touch it and feel it and grab all my things off of it. Okay, so I've got my outline, as you guys know. So I have absolutely loved seeing all of your month 3 blocks. They're all so beautiful, and I get so excited when you guys tag me or when you share them in our private community. So keep them coming as you work on them. I really want to see them. Everybody's loving them. This has been such a fun block of the month. It makes me so happy. Okay, so back to Valentine's Day. Again, thank you for spending your Valentine's with me. I wish I had some like little heart candies I could like give you guys, but you know, this is virtual, so I almost thought of having my son's box of chocolate and like enjoying them as I talk, but I'm like, that's rude. I won't do that to you guys. So post in the chat if you celebrate Valentine's Day or if you have any plans later. I don't know, maybe you're on the East Coast and you're blow drying your hair or getting it ready and putting your makeup on and watching this, but let me know in the chat if you celebrate Valentine's Day and like what your plans are. I know some people will celebrate like a week or two after just so that they don't have to deal with all of the crowds out there, but just let us know in the chat. Teresa, it looks like your message is restricted and I don't know why, so I cannot see what you said. Okay, perfect. Yeah, post that in the chat and then we can all see. Maybe we can all get some ideas from each other because we're terrible. We don't really do anything. And I think it's just because we don't like, I don't know, we just don't think about like what we could do different, something fun. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law used to order a heart-shaped pizza from Papa John's and then watched a movie. And I always thought that was so cute, but we never did it. Oh, Jackie, your plan is to sew. See, yes. Yes, Jackie, I love that idea. And my husband is making a quilt. He hasn't really started sewing yet, but we've got like one block cut out. That would actually be something fun for us to do tonight. I'm going to have to see if that's something he would want to do after this call. Tori, Tori says we are supposed to go to a movie tomorrow, but we're supposed to get our second snowstorm this week tomorrow. Oh no, I'm so sorry. You will be probably snowed in. I think we're pretty in the clear, although I have had people tell me, because this is only our 3rd year in South Carolina, I have had people tell me that sometimes they could get snow all the way in April, but I don't know. It was really warm last week, and then this week it was freezing and raining, and so I'm like, I can't see us getting snow, but then, you know, this week I'm like, oh yeah, I could definitely see us getting snow. Okay, let's see. Oh, Teresa, that's okay. It just said that your message was restricted. I don't know. Sometimes YouTube will probably take liberties of what it shows me and not shows me. But if you post it again and it gets restricted, it might not just like that comment. It's okay, though. Okay. All right, let's move on. So post in the chat how month 3 went for you. Are you finished with your blocks? Were they easy? Were they challenging? Do you have any questions about them before we move on to showing month 4 and diving in? And yeah, just let us know in the chat. And yep, a couple of you are about to get snow again. Do you guys feel like, those of you in the north, do you feel like you've gotten so much more snow this year than you normally do? I don't know if I'm just paying attention more in the news and social media, but I feel like there's been a lot more lot more of storms, a lot more snow up there in the north. So, okay, Jay Lasman finished and almost done with the next ones. Wow. Oh my goodness. Joanne, challenging but fun. Joanne, what was challenging for you, if you feel like you want to share? Oh my goodness. When you guys finish this block of the month, and I'm sure you felt that with flower sand, you're like, wow, I can tackle anything. Now, I still have yet to tackle curves because I don't put curves in my quilt, so I'm scared of those, but I feel like, and we don't do like any weird angles, but I feel like you'll be able to look at almost any quilt that doesn't have like, weird angles and circles or curves and be like, I can tackle that now because I did one of Heather's quilts and there are lots of little pieces and all the things. So, okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Are you ready to get started? So guess what I have back? I have my quilt back. All is well. I have my quilt back. You probably saw it on the Fat Quarter Shop live stream a couple of weeks ago. I actually just shipped Cozy Cottage to them. They're going to be showing that soon and taking their own photography of that picture, but it's just so good to have it back. I don't know if you guys ever you probably don't, but I don't want to assume. I'm sure you guys don't just randomly send quilts and then get them back, right? Like if you send a quilt to somebody, like a family member that you're giving, it stays there, right? Like you don't ever get it back. So it's just sad, when I send this quilt places or any of my quilts that I know I will be getting back, it's like lonely. Oh, they showed the cottage today. Okay, Tori, I didn't watch today. I was actually very busy getting ready for the rest of the block of the month. As you probably saw, my newsletter was a little late, and that's because I've been working so much to get all this stuff done. But anyway, we have her back. So I thought I would show you her because she hasn't been showed off here in a while. So moving on to month 4, I know you all know where that's at, but we are making these these blocks in this door. So you can see here the welcome to the flower shop sign and the little watering can that I keep calling a flowering can. Listen, I had to edit out so many times my tutorial for block 8. I kept saying flowering can and not watering can. And I don't know why, but I kept having to edit that out. At the end, I was finally just like, if I said watering or flowering can, I meant watering can. Anyway, so here are our blocks. So this says, welcome to the flower shop. It's got a cute scalloped, let's see, I'm not coordinated enough. It's got a cute little scalloped border around the welcome to the flower shop sign with these vines hanging down and this cute little flower, which we have made before. Right here, if you remember, I don't know, block 3 or 4, maybe right here. So you have made it before. So this is what we're making. This is the last, I believe, of the hand embroidery, or you can use a panel like I use, the pre-printed panel. That is a huge tongue twister for me. Every time I say it in a tutorial, I'm like, pre-printed panel. And I struggle with P's and R's anyway, and so I have to say it as slow as possible. But somebody was asking who quilted my quilt at Fat Quarter Shop live. That was Gina Tell. She did these adorable little Baptist bands with a heart inside of it. So Gina Tell. Yes. Okay. So we've got that. And then, here we go. Our watering can in the bottom of the door. And then you will notice you will be putting these little corner squares. That just kind of makes the door kind of look like a little screen door with those little accents. So, and it's kind of hard to see my watering can. I didn't use there we go. That's better. Oh, here we go. There's my watering can. So cute. And you guys have made this little flower block before on block 1. So here's the quilt. Happy to have her back. She's so pretty, just as I remember her when I sent her off. It always makes me nervous. I'm always nervous, oh no, will it get lost? a couple of people at Quilt Market were like, oh my gosh, Heather, anytime you ship a quilt, you need to put an air tag in it so you can see exactly where it is. So if the box gets lost, you know like where it is. And I'm like, that's a good idea. I need to start doing that. But I don't. So here's the Flower Shop quilt. I don't have as much room to show her, but I know you guys see her all the time when I post. But again, I'm just so happy to have her back. I was like, ooh, I've got to show her because I have missed showing her the last couple of lives. I haven't had her. Man, I really want like a larger space on my wall. It would be really nice to like move some things around and like hang this on the wall because I think it's so pretty. So pretty. Okay. So let's move on. So I do not have, normally I show right now my remix pattern. I was bad. I didn't do one this month this month, but I am going to. Okay. So it's just been really hectic. I'm on a pretty big deadline with Moda, just trying to wrap up for my next collection, which debuts on the 28th, just all of like the sell sheets. So essentially what those are is just all of my quilt patterns that I am going to have with the collection. I have to specify yardage with SKUs and make sure all that is right. And usually they give me, oh my goodness, I feel like my eyelash is falling in my eye. Usually they give me a couple weeks to kind of get my patterns together, to confirm the yardage that's going to go in the quilt and make any changes at that point before they send it off to sales reps to help sell the fabric. And then the quilt shops know exactly what fabric they need if they would like to kit up one of the patterns. And so that's a lot to do. That takes a long time. So I feel like with that and then getting everything ready with this, and then this month has just flown by incredibly fast. I just can't believe it. So I did not get a remix pattern done. All that to say, I am going to. So I recently learned, and if Cheryl Boyle, if she is on, she can attest for me. I recently learned how to make sourdough bread. So fun. So if you guys were on the Zoom call, you learned that me and Cheryl are kind of like relatives in a way. And I went to visit her last weekend, and she was taking her granddaughters to a sourdough baking class, like how to do it all. And I was able to tag along. So I learned how to make sourdough. So what I was thinking, because after you make it, you don't really want to like put it in like plastic or whatever to like steal your bread or like hold your bread while you're waiting to cut it and eat it. And so we got a little paper bag, but I was almost wondering, I thought it'd be really, because you can store it in like cotton bags and cheesecloth bags and stuff like that. I was like, how cute would that be to make like one of my remix patterns be like a bread sack to like put my bread in? And I think a couple weeks ago, an art gallery fabric designer, I think her name is Sharon Holland. You probably know who that is. I think I remember seeing her make some bread. Like she had some baguettes in her fabric, and I just thought it was so cute. So I am thinking of doing that. Let me know in the chat if you've ever made a bread bag, and if you have any pointers for me. I was kind of thinking of doing like, I don't know if I'll research this, but like a linen texture for like the base, like the bag itself. And then maybe like the drawstring, I would do maybe my own fabric. And then like one of the blocks from last month, maybe not making it into like a quilted block. And if I do, just put like hand stitch that quilted block onto the bag. Just something cute, just something different, and something I can now use. I actually did make some more today. So essentially off topic, but you guys are here for that, right? We're here for the off topic conversations. So, or maybe not. I shouldn't speak for you, but I learned all about like a mother, and I learned about like the starter and all that, and like how the process works and how to feed your mother. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, oh my goodness, I had no idea either on Saturday when we were like introducing ourselves, what we did, our name, and then like what we knew about sourdough. You know, we were all going around. I'm like, I know nothing. And somebody was like, I'm a bad mom. I killed my mother. And I'm like, I don't think that, am I in the right place? I don't think that's where we should like talk. Like, are you really talking that you killed your mother? I had no idea the terminology for sourdough. And so I'm like, oh, as we got into it, I'm like, okay, she's not a creepy serial killer who killed her mom. Anyways, she was a lovely lady. But it was just so fun. And so I've been growing my mother all week. And then yesterday I took some from her, and that sounds so bad. And then I was able to make my second loaf of bread, because the first one was basically we learned it and we made our loaf, or like our dough there, but this was the first time I made the dough with my mother. So anyway, yes. Okay. So a couple of you are talking about sourdough. Yes, you love sourdough and have never mastered it. Learning curve for sure. Yeah, it definitely is. And our instructor was just like, follow exactly what I say. Don't go on YouTube. Don't go on TikTok. I don't go on TikTok, but Instagram and all these things, and try to collect as much information as you can from everybody, because sometimes, and I don't know a lot about it, but sometimes it differs, I guess, what kind of mother you have and your methods. And so she's like, stick to this one. So that's what I'm doing. I did follow one sourdough bread page just because they're cute. Like, some people are making their sourdough really cute. And I'm like, I wonder if I could like draw some flowers on it. Okay, I'm so sorry for the off topic, but I really quick, I didn't make my remix, but if you've made remix patterns or remix projects, feel free to share them in the group on social media. You can still use the hashtag Flower Shop BOM. That is one of the categories you can win at the end of the block of the month. Is I kind of collect everybody's pictures, and then I randomly select a winner. So the more remix projects you make, the more chances you have to win that category. So come on, hop on the remix train and let's make something with these patterns, guys, other than the quilt. Okay, so I spoke a lot about our month 3 remix. Nope. Our month 3 Zoom meetup. You guys can see where my mind is at, because it says month 3 remix, then it says month 3 Zoom meetup. So we had our first ever, I've never done a Zoom call with all of you before. So we had our first one on the 31st of January, and it was so much fun. I enjoyed it so much. I think the call lasted about 2 hours, because I can't stop talking, as you can see right now. I'm good at talking, right? Especially about something I love. But we all got to go around. I think there were 12 to 14 of us on the call, and we all had our videos on, which was great. So we could see each other, and I could see your background. Okay, you'll remember like that reference from a couple lives ago, but it was good to see everybody and kind of put a face with a name. And then we all kind of showed our blocks or our progress of where we're at. And we talked about, what we've enjoyed and what were challenges. And then we just kind of talked about ourselves and got to know each other. And it was so much fun. So if you missed it, you can check out the replay is in the main hub. Now, if you are not in the Flower Shop block of the month, you will not be able to see the Zoom meetup replay, because it's only in the main hub. It is actually on my YouTube channel, but nobody can see it. It's hidden, and you have to have a direct link or be in the main hub. So if you're not part of the Flower Shop block of the month, what are you doing? Come on. It's fun, and you're already here, so come on. I'm kidding. No pressure. But it was really good, and I'm super excited for the next one. Actually, I showed a little bit. Don't tell anybody. I showed a little bit of the new stuff that's coming out on February 28th, which is like 14 days away, which is so exciting. So they got to see a little sneak peek of the next block of the month. Don't you post it in the chat. Don't you tell nobody. Don't give it away. But I showed the theme for the next block of the month with my next collection, and I showed like a little bit of the prints. And yes, see, some of you in the chat, you're excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So excited about it. I still have not got my sample yardage yet. We're a little behind because, I don't know if I've told you guys this, but I had to change a couple colors, most of the colors on my last collection. So it set us behind, because it's a whole process and a whole conversation for another time. But I was on the Inappropriate Quilters podcast with Leslie and Rochelle. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but I was interviewed on that. I think it's their most current podcast. And I talked a little bit about it, about like what's going on with the fabric and like how it all works, and me picking wrong colors, and, just learning. I'm new, so I'm learning. But it was good to show you guys, to see when you're in like, you know, my block of the months and we do some top secret stuff, I can show you those things. Same with my newsletter. I can like show you some things without broadcasting them all over the internet. So like on social media and stuff. So be sure, if you're not a newsletter subscriber, what are you doing? I'm just kidding. You guys, I'm having a good day. I don't know if you can tell that, but I'm having a good day. Okay, so check out that Zoom 3 meetup. Our next Zoom meetup will be in month 6, although it would be so fun to do them monthly, but I just want to figure that out because I thoroughly enjoyed getting like that one-on-one personal contact. Not that I don't enjoy the chat, but it was just so different Zooming you, right? And so I would love to do more. So I was thinking maybe future do one every other month, maybe. I just worry that one day, what if like 12 to 14 people is perfect? You all fit on my screen. But what if we had like 50 people? I wouldn't know what to do. I mean, I wouldn't be able to see you all, first of all, and because you guys be on separate screens, and I wouldn't know how to control it. So I'll have to think on that, but it was good, so check it out. Okay, so finally, let's move on to month 4. Are you ready? So let's take a look at my month 4 blocks, and I'm going to tell you, I made. So you're not even going to, I'm going to let you guess what my was, but I'm going to show you my month for block 7. So here's mine. Here is my block 7. Looks cute. Yeah. What do you guys think? Cute? I like it. I like how it turned out. I used the Callie & Co. for here and here. I used Sherry and Chelsea's. I believe it's it's Favorite Things, their Christmas collection. I used that as the pink. I really love the pink in that collection. And then I think this is an old Corey Yoder print I just pulled from my stash, but here's this one. I used the pre-printed panel. I have to say that slow. Welcome to the Flower Shop. So my whole entire quilt, I am using the panel. Now, if you don't want to hand embroider or you don't want to purchase the panel, you could even make this solid or use like a favorite floral print. This is a large space here. So if you have like a favorite floral print from the collection, I know the main print in the collection, like the white background with the flowers, would look super cute here. So don't feel like you have to put the words or anything. Okay, so take a peek. I messed up this block, but I'll never tell you until you guess. Okay? How did I mess this block up? And it's not going to be what you think. Okay, so here is my block 8. Love this. Okay, so I think it's from Canning Day, this low volume in my stash for a very long time. So I was like, I've got to use that. And then I'm using the Sherry and Chelsea Strawberry Lemonade for my door. And so that's why these corner squares are on here. And then I used, I think it's Favorite Things or Emma by Sherry and Chelsea for my watering can. And then I stuck with the tan because I'm trying as much as possible to match my colors to the pattern. So I'm not using the same fabrics. I'm not using Dainty Meadow. I'm using these, but I tried to match, like, okay, it was a pink flowering can. Look, I said flowering can, watering can, guys, watering can. So in my watering can, in the traditional Dainty Meadow fabric, it was pink with tan. So I tried to, I tried to match that so it wasn't confusing. So here is this one. And I don't know, I need to clean my sewing room, but I have lost my little like taggy tag things to like tag them. But this is how I normally do it, is I just put the little tags on there with a wonder clip, and I lost them. So I need to clean my room to find them, because normally in my videos, I'm like, there's one last thing to do. We need to put our little marker on there so we remember what block it was. And I lost it. But can you spot what I did wrong on that first block? So here's my blocks. Here's my watering can. And here's my block 7. Post in the chat if you can tell. And if you can't tell, just say I can't tell. But I want to tell you what I did, and I didn't notice it till I finished my entire block and the tutorial and everything. Okay, so let's see. I cannot spot the mistake without pulling out the pattern. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, it's not a mistake, a sewing mistake. So it's not a sewing mistake. This is exactly how the pattern was. It's actually a background mistake. You are right. It's a background mistake. So I wasn't paying attention when I was cutting out my blocks, and I've been using my normal 9900-182. That's Bella Porcelain. I use that all the time for all my quilts, for the Flower Shop original quilt with Dainty Meadow. But I forgot I was doing Bella 200 with this quilt. Okay, so I'm keeping it because it goes inside the door. Okay, so, and somebody said they can't tell. I will show you the difference. So look at the two back. Oh yeah, okay, you can barely tell here. Okay, but this is the white, and this is, okay, this isn't good. So you can barely tell, but you could if they were right next to each other, like if these were in like the window, you would be able to spot the difference. But because this is in the door, and if you make the same mistake too, it's fine. So because this is in the door and it is framed out with the door, I'm like not worried about it. So yes, I made the wrong background choice. But it's okay because I still love it. And oh my gosh, okay. Time out. Do any of you hold your blocks like this when you're doing stuff? So like I'll throw it like on my chest and I will do stuff like I'm the only one. Okay, wonderful. Anyways, that is my mistake, but it's going to be just fine. I think, like I said, because it's in the door. You will never know. So if you always use a certain background fabric and you're making it with a different background fabric for this, just check that before you make that, because I remember pulling it out too. Normally I have my 200 bolt with this fabric. I don't know what's going on in this room, but it's not there. So I just casually pull out my 182 like it's nothing. And that happened. So it'll be interesting to see how it looks in the quilt. I might see if there's anywhere else in the quilt where I can implement that color, because in the original Dainty Meadow, that's the whole background color is 182. But in this one, I was going for much brighter, and so it'll be interesting. Okay, so let's keep moving on to month 4 stuff. I showed you my blocks, and let's talk about the virtual flower pack and what your goodies are this month. Oh, and here's the pattern. This is what your pattern looks like for this month. Here's block 7 and 8. Okay, that was just right here. Okay, so I want to talk about what your first little goodie is. Okay, so I do this all the time, especially when I wasn't designing quilts. I always wanted to know how to enlarge something without needing to go in the computer to do it. Because I know a ton of you don't have the software that we use, like Illustrator or EQ8 and all of that, to kind of upsize or even downsize a block. So here you go. This is your freebie this month. It is called the Quilt Block Enlargement Enlarging Chart. The quilt, and I think I keep calling it enlargement or enlarging, but I kind of like upscale, upsize better, but I didn't think of that. So a couple of years ago, you guys probably don't know this, but I released a video of me enlarging my little Ginger and Jolly gingerbread man, and I made him like a life size, right? Like he was like this big, the whole gingerbread. So if you know my Ginger and Jolly quilt, it's these little gingerbread men with like bow ties and overalls. It is just the most darling thing. Lisa Alexander from Moda, she has my quilt. She purchased it from me and gave it to her daughter, and she teases me with her little grandbabies on the quilt because they love the little babies. Anyways, all that to say, I have this for you. So if you ever want to increase the block size, so let's just say, you know, our little tiny box in this quilt, you're like, oh, this would work in another quilt, but I need it to be like 20 inches. You can upsize that. Now, it doesn't work exactly like that. You can't just pick the size, but you can definitely increase it as much as you can to fit what you need. You might have to put some borders on the block, depending on how big the block is. But there is a 4-part chart. So the front 2 pages talk and walk through the instructions, okay? So what I would do first is follow the first part first and do it on the chart. Don't read the rest, then follow the second part of the chart or the instructions for part 2, then go do it. So essentially what you're doing is, I'm going to walk you through it really quick, is Overall, you really want to find your multiplier. So for instance, if your 12 or if your block that you have that you want to upsize is 12 by 12 finished, that's a common size. And maybe you want it to be 24-inch or 36 inches. You just need to find your multiplier. So if you're increasing it from 12-inch to 24, I believe that multiple is 2 because you're doubling it, right? But you can do any kind of multiple. I just suggest you do like 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. If you get to like 4, that's just like king size. So you probably will never get that big. But what you're going to do is you just kind of want to keep in the back of your mind how big you want that block to be, because you could guess like, oh, I'll do a multiple of 8. And then you do the chart and you're like, whoa, I'm cutting out like a 36-inch corner square. Like that's not going to work. So I would stick to a lower number, probably anything 3, you're probably pretty good. So what you do first, and this is part 1. You're just putting in your fabric letters. So now I suggest if your pattern that you're trying to upscale does not have a letter system, I would create one yourself. Kind of, the letter system that I do is like A, B, C, D for each piece, just to keep track of those pieces. So what you do there is your letter. Then right here in the second column, you're just writing down what the cutting instructions are as they are. So if the pattern says you need a 2.5-inch square by 2.5 inches, you write that, okay? The next step is subtracting, subtracting 0.5 from each side, okay? So if it was a 2.5-inch square, okay, you're subtracting 0.5, so a 1/2 inch from the length, 1/2 inch from the width. So my 2.5-inch square by 2.5-inch square now becomes 2 by 2. And that's what you write right here, okay? So that is part 1. Okay, so part 2, again, you can put your fabric letters, and then next is putting what you wrote in that last column, your current finished measurements, okay? You're going to write them here. So I would have laid this out on like an 11 by 17 just so you didn't have to repeat writing everything. But not all of you have access to printing an 11 by 17, and you'd much rather print on an 8.5 by 11. So this is why I did it this way. But if you're brave enough, you could just not write, some of the things out. Next is you're going to multiply those measurements that you just got by your multiplier. Okay, so if my 2-inch by 2-inch square and I want to multiply it, let's just say by 2 to keep it easy, you're multiplying each side by 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, right? Wouldn't that have been funny if I said something funny, right? 2 by 2, that's 4, yes. So now, because my multiplier was 2, I'm essentially just doubling the size. I could do 3, I could do 4, I could do larger. So after I get that, I'm just writing on this side what those are. So if my 2-inch by 2-inch square and I multiplied it by 2, okay, each side, I now have a 4-inch by 4-inch square, okay? Does that make sense so far? Okay, and then in the part 3 chart, you're just adding back in that seam allowance that we subtracted on the first chart, okay? So we're adding back a 1/2 inch to each side. So essentially it's a 1/4 inch seam all the way around, but we're instead of being like subtract a 1/4 inch seam from the top, bottom, side, and side, we're just saying a 1/4 or a 1/2 inch from the top and bottom, or from the, from the length by the width. Okay. So after that, then you get your measurements here. Okay. So remember, we have a 4 by 4 square now since we multiplied it. So now we're just adding that 1/2 inch back. So now we have a 4.5 by 4.5 inch square. Okay, and then this last chart is just writing down those measurements, and this becomes your new cutting, okay? This becomes your new cutting chart for that pattern. Now, you can do this to almost any block out there that you like. The only thing I do request of you is if you enlarge your block, that like if you take, let's just say you take one of my patterns and you enlarge the block, you're not technically creating, and then you're like, ooh, I want to give out the measurements for this. Please don't, because that's still my copyrighted stuff. Does that make sense? So let's just say we love Corey's pattern, but we want to increase the block, and we increase the block and everybody's asking me for the measurements, or me or you. I know it will be so like tempting to want to give everybody those measurements, but they really need the pattern. That's what you're basing this off of. So I just ask you, if you do enlarge something, you do not just give out those measurements and act like it's a new pattern or a new block, just because it's technically not. Does that make sense? I just wanted to put that out there because I don't want, this really is just a personal tool for you to increase something, not necessarily a design tool for you to create a new pattern for yourself to then sell or give the measurements out for free. So I hope that makes sense, but I hope you guys enjoy this. So I love this. I used to use this again all the time. And sometimes I will have to like, sometimes when I want to increase it in my Illustrator program, I will be like, okay, well, how big do I want this? So what's my multiplier? And I usually do it in my program now, but this was so helpful. So as you can see, we increased that little block to this little block with this, and it's a lot of fun, especially like if you want to take like a fun star block. Let's just say that you love Moda blockheads and you're like, I love this block, but I want it like a king size quilt. Definitely use the multiplier to do that. So, okay, moving on. Speaking of the enlargement chart, it's exactly what I did for your bonus pattern this month. So your bonus pattern is called Bloom Buddies, and I took the little flowers from, I believe it's block 2. I know it's month 1, and I increased them and I made a little pattern for you. This has all the pattern instructions, so you don't actually have to go and use the chart to increase the block yourself. You can just follow this pattern and be just fine. This is also those of you that are not in the block of the month. If you're in the block of the month, this is always free for you. The bonus patterns are always free. But if you're not in the block of the month, this is going to be a low price pattern on my website soon. I just want to get it quilted and take like better pictures for it. But I thought I would show you. I dug through my scrap bin for this one, and I really enjoyed making it. And I get questions all the time if I'm ever going to come out with easier, beginner-friendly floral quilts. So this is one of those. Okay, you guys want to see my quilt? I'm sure if you follow me on social media, you probably saw my reel yesterday, and I shared it, but let's see it. Okay, so here is, look how big these flowers, these flowers are so big. Okay, so here's my quilt. Can you hear me? So here's my quilt. We've got a big pink flower and a small blue flower. Do you guys remember making these back in month 1? Yes? Okay. So these are super simple. These are like 5 or something inches. So it's so easy. You don't have to worry about the little pieces. I was able to have this quilt cut out and made within 4 hours, which I think is a win. And like I said, I dug through my scrap bin. So let's see it. So here's all the prints that I used for the pink flower. I used every collection. We've got some Flower Girl, some Dainty Meadow, some Cottage Charm, which ships soon. And then I just used the same stem color for each flower just because I didn't want it to be overwhelming. And I don't think I have a lot of green